Good day, everyone. In our past lecture, we looked at how high the drone can go, which is defined by the service ceiling, and how far the drone can go, which is defined with the range of the drone. In the present lecture, we will look at how fast drone can go and what is the effect of wind resistance on the drone while moving. Since there is a limit at which the drone can move, it is important to know what is the limit of that drone and what is the effect of wind resistance on the drone. Let us look at these concepts in detail. Let's look at the cruising speed of a drone or answer to the question how fast a drone can fly. Before going into the details, I wanted to share some typical drone speeds with you. One of our favorite machines, the DJI Mavic Pro, can shoot along at about 45 miles per hour at full throttle. Take it out of sports mode, ensuring stabilized flight and smooth video recording, and that drops down into the 30 miles per hour range. But just like your car, you don't always fly around at full speed. My flight records indicate my moving average speed of a Mavic is about 11 miles per hour, but I spend most of my time at a hover. The Mavic Pro, even at 30 miles per hour, is pretty fast compared to the average out there. In my experience, the average toy class machine may get up to 12 miles per hour, but not very fast. Most of the drones you would find out under $1,000 list and in our camera drones list have similar speeds to the Mavic Pro. Moving up the scale, you have something like the DJI Inspire 2 clocking it at just under 60 miles per hour. Commercial drones have some higher speeds, but for you and I at home, racing drones are where it's at if you have the net need for speed. Your average machine is still going to clock in at 50 to 70 miles per hour, but some of the top racing quads can break that 100 miles per hour mark. The fastest I have heard of is a 129 miles per hour. A little rig based on the stick frame is in our best racing drones list. It feels silly to say that flying a drone at speed is all about gravity. You already know this, but I will say it for one reason. Fighting gravity is the reason drones go so slow. Your camera based drone is a well balanced machine and probably fairly symmetrical in design. Racing drones are not symmetrical, and this is why they can go faster. The idea for more speed is simple. If you can find a way to increase horizontal thrust without reducing the minimum upward thrust to stay in the sky, you will go faster. The basic concept for a racing drone is to elevate the trailing propellers or lower the leading ones. This little bit, perhaps, with a little tilt forward, throws the drone out of balance for a stable hover. The tilt of the drone creates a forward moving attitude, helping the drone fly faster. A standard drone that you get from the market will have a cruising speed of about 40 to 50 miles per hour. As shown in the figure, the cruising speed of fixed-wing drones are high as compared to the multi-rotor drones due to the aerodynamic characteristics of the drone. One of the specifications that will be present while purchasing a drone is the wind resistance of the drone, which is how much the wind the drone can withstand before losing control and swaying in the wind. This is important since in strong winds it becomes very difficult to fly a drone. How windy is too windy for a drone? Most commercial drones can be flown in wind between 10 and 30 miles per hour. The maximum speed of the drone determines how up to which wind speed can be flown. A rule of thumb says that the wind may be up to two-thirds of the drone's maximum flight. For example, a DJI Phantom 3 can fly up to 16 miles per hour, so the maximum allowed wind speed is 10 miles per hour. If you want to fly in strong winds, there is a lot to consider, such as flying behavior and the battery status. Many people say that drones are unaffected by the wind because they fly in their own airflow, but that is not right. Drones are affected by the wind, and in each flight situation, there are different things to consider. Many people say that drones are unaffected by the wind because they fly in their own airflow. No, that's not right. The starting sequence is the most dangerous situation if you fly in strong winds. The ground level turbulence of the drone is overlaid by the height of the wind. The drone can be placed or displaced or flipped over by the wind. Generally, the pilot must stand behind the drone facing the wind. So, in the worst case scenario, the drone could crash into your face. When the drone is hovering, it is not leveled horizontally. The drone will compensate for the wind by flying against the wind direction. The drone has a horizontal tilt like it is flying to forward, but it simply hovers in front of you. You can also hear the motor and the propeller more loudly in such a flight situation, which indicates that the drone needs more electric power than when hovering in low winds. You must be attentive during the flight. Unexpected movements of the drone will occur due to the wind turbulence, and you will have to actively take countermeasures. For the whole flight, the drone needs more electric power to be prepared for a shorter flight time than in normal flight conditions. If you fly wind up, the drone will see extremely slow. For example, if the wind has a velocity of 30 miles per hour and your drone has maximum speed of 35 miles per hour, the drone's wind speed wind is only 5 miles per hour. If you fly down, its velocity is added, and the drone will have a speed of 65 miles per hour. The reaction of the turbulence is also incredibly fast, so you must be focused on the movements of the drone. The landing sequence is as difficult as the starting one. The drone can be displaced and crash into an object or into you. There are two ways a drone can be affected by the wind. The first one is technical influence on the energy supply. The drone needs much more energy to fly and to compensate for the turbulence. You can see that in the hovering tilt, if you fly wind up, you need a lot more energy for the same distance as opposed to flying in no wind. So drone is faster wind down but requires more energy to hold the position during turbulence. The second one is the effect of the flight behavior. The movement of the drone wind up are sluggish, might react a bit late to control signals due to the higher energy consumption against the wind. Wind down, the drone is pushed right and left like a boat in rapids. It tries to compensate for every movement, which is highly energy consuming. Due to the high speed of the drone, control signals are strongly accepted and result in faster movements. To fly at high speeds wind down, you have to use the altitude or manual mode. The GPS mode has a maximum speed defined. If you fly, for example, wind down 30 miles per hour, but your defined maximum speed is 25 miles per hour, the drone will fly 5 miles per hour against the wind, so the resulting velocity is 25 miles per hour. For DJI drones, you have to switch to the S mode in the DJI Go app to use the maximum speed. Now we know the effect of wind on the drone and what happens. Usually, a pre flight check is done, which involves getting the wind speeds around you. There are various methods to estimate the wind around you before starting the drone flight. They are: first is anemometer, a small device that has a little wind turbine integrated to it to measure the wind speed. Always keep in mind that the wind at higher altitude can be different. The wind app. Apps like UAV forecast show you the wind speed of the nearest weather station to your location. The local wind conditions can, however, vary significantly from those of the weather station. Beaufort scale. For every wind speed category, the Beaufort scale has a picture that you can compare to the current situation to estimate the wind speed. This Beaufort scale is shown as is shown in the slide. To fly in strong winds, it is good to know what the airspeed and ground speed are and how to calculate them. The airspeed is the speed of the drone relative to the air. The ground speed is the ground speed of the drone relative to the ground. If you fly against the wind, there is a gap between the airspeed and ground speed. When you fly wind up, the ground speed is the airspeed minus the wind speed, and flying wind down, it is the airspeed plus the wind speed. There are also mobile weather stations these days which help you in estimating the wind around you. The wind and weather play a key role in stability and endurance of the flight. So always make sure you measure them before flying the drone. To To summarize the lecture, first we studied about the speed, what speed we can fly the drone, and what is the wind resistance experienced by the drone. We also saw the effect of wind on the drone and how we can measure the wind before any flight. In our next lecture, we'll be focusing on the guidance, navigation, and control of the drone. Thank you.